Hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you're doing great. So today we are talking about a movie. We're gonna have a couple of movies for a bit. I think there's this one and another one that I do want to make a video about, and there is a series that I do want to make a video about, so we're gonna have a few of this for a while. But today we have a movie, and this one I saw a while back, but just now I was able to like make the notes and make sure I didn't forget anything, and then I saw it again just to make sure. This is why I'm doing the video today this late. But I'm talking about the movie Officer Black Belt. Yeah, Officer Black Belt, and it came out last year, September of last year. I did saw it a couple of months after it came out, honestly, because I was watching other things. I think I watched this, if it wasn't at the end of 2024, it was at the beginning of 2025. It has been a couple of months since it came out, and this is a Korean movie on Netflix, of course. I am still debating if I should get Disney Plus, because there is a lot of things there that I'm very curious about that people really like, and I'm still debating myself. I don't know if I should or not, but this movie is almost 2 hours long. I will say it doesn't feel very long in the sense of a lot of things are happening, so it keeps you there for a long time, and it's like when you see that it's done, it's like, well, it's done, 2 hours have passed. So it's definitely a lot of things. Now this video is not gonna be that long, honestly. I feel like my notes aren't as long as usual, but we will see. But there's definitely a lot happening. The way that I'm going to be explaining it might seem like not, but there is a lot happening, I promise. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the movie like I always do. So we have our main character, which is Yoon-do. He is a black belt in Taekwondo, Kendo, and Judo, and most of the time he is playing video games. Okay, he's always with his friends playing video games, and sometimes he goes to help his father with his, I think it's chicken. What he does. It's like a restaurant and they do deliveries, and sometimes he helps with the deliveries. And he has 3 friends, which their names are very weird. Moisture, Rider K, and Earthworm. I think they explained at some point why they're called like that, but I don't remember. And I didn't write it down either, but I think they explained why they're called like that. They do. If you see the movie or if you have seen it, you remember, please let me know. But I think they explained it at some point. But yeah, he helps his father with deliveries and all of that, and then in one of these deliveries he is passing through a small, I was going to say hallway, but it's not a hallway. It's like a back alley. There we go, that. And he is seeing a guy all dressed in black. He's fighting another guy all dressed in orange. He's, you know, the guy in black is getting his ass kicked, literally. And he decides to stop and help him in just a couple of seconds. Literally didn't take him that long to put down the guy in orange. And then we later know that he is an officer, and his name is Minju, and that the other guy dressed in orange was a criminal that was violating his probation, and he was there capturing him. So because of this, they decide to commemorate him for this. I think they give him a certificate, medal, something. They give him something, and then they it's basically a way of them thanking him for helping and all of that. And then there is this other guy called Sunmi. He is like the boss of the officers essentially, and he's talking to Yundo, and he's like, yeah, this is what we do. They're basically officers, and they keep track of the criminals that are on violation, that has the ankle tracker thing and all of that. And he convinces Yundo to work for them, essentially, because the way that they call him is martial arts officer, essentially, and Sunmin was going to be his partner. So they convince him. He's like, oh, this sounds fun, because all this time on this point Yundo is like just looking for fun things to do, you know. So he's like, this sounds like fun. I'm gonna be on the street, kind of fighting crime, great. So essentially the way that it works is they all have their office. At the moment they're short on staff, which a lot of people are doing overtime, but they're in the office and they have their computers and the ankle trackers and all of that, and they just sit there waiting to keep in track. And then if they see that an ankle track is like lower on battery or something, or if they see them being in a weird place that they shouldn't be, they try to call them, and if they don't answer, then they have the green light to go and see where they are or why they aren't charging the ankle track, all of that. So when Yundo gets to that point, he's like, oh, this is not what I thought it was, because he thought he was going to be on the streets, you know, having fun. But there is a point where he realizes one of the ankle trackers is low on battery. He tries to call, the person doesn't answer, so he does tell Sunmin, and Sunmin is like, okay, let's go and check. And that is like the first time that he's actually going out and doing that, which is technically what he actually wants to do and he thought the job was. So he's very excited, honestly. he looks very excited to go outside and kick some ass, essentially. So throughout this whole part, which is kind of longish, but this whole part is just him learning the job, working with Sunmin outside, keeping track of all these criminals that are doing weird stuff. Okay, when I say weird, I mean weird. There was one looking at children. I'm not gonna say what he was doing, but he was looking at children. There was another one that was just weird things. Okay, they were doing weird things. People, I don't even know. Okay, whatever. The point is, after all of this, it is this huge part. It's kind of hilarious. It's a few hilarious things happen, and you can see that Yundo is actually enjoying this, and he started to like keep track of everything in the computer to be able to like find somebody and go out. Technically, after this whole thing, we meet the main bad guy, which it's Gi-jun. There we go. He's a child molester who served a couple of years in prison, and now he's doing parole, and they formed this whole separate department just for him to keep track of him alone. And Sunmin and Yundo are part of it, and they put the ankle tracker on him and they put him in the apartment, and everybody outside is like, what the hell, why is he here? He should still be in prison. Why is he outside? We're scared for his children. That type of a thing. Of course, Gi-jun doesn't leave the past in the past, and he immediately starts working with another guy and another guy to do child bad things to child, they say it that way, and sell it on the dark web so, you know, people can see, you know, that kind of a thing. At this point you should know what I'm talking about. So they even get a plan. I don't remember these two guys' name. I don't think I never wrote it down, honestly. But it's two guys. One is focused on the dark web selling, and the other guy helps him get the children, essentially. So they even find this other apartment that is very close to the radio that he can be, basically, and that's where they're going to do the recording stuff. I don't know how to describe it, but at this point you should know what I'm talking about. So of course this is not good. They do end up capturing a little girl called Minju. Yeah, Minju. Yundo and Sumi does kind of learn that something is happening, and they go to a place, and essentially they separate. Yundo goes another way and Sunmi and Minju go another way. I don't remember exactly what was the alert. I don't remember if it was the ankle tracker that kind of alert, I think, or if it was the alert of Minju being disappearing. I don't remember exactly what the alert was, but they do separate, okay? They both go different ways. So essentially this is a trap, because there is in both places there is people that were on parole before that they captured and then went back to prison, and I'm guessing they're out again, and this is a way to get revenge over the official art people, essentially. So what ends up happening is Minju and no Minju. Oh my god, Sumin and Minjo. The different Minjo is the guy, Minju is the little girl. Sumin and Minjo, the way that they go, there's a bunch of those Pearl guys. They recognize him, of course, both of them. And Sumin does get a neck injury in the fight, and Minjo dies. He dies in the hospital, if I remember. And then when we go to Jundo, he does get into the apartment. He does try to fight. I always forget names here. Jesus. What was his name? Gijun. He does end up fighting Gijun. But Gijun is a big guy, okay? He's very tall and strong. And Jundo, you know, he cannot fight him properly. But he stops fighting when he sees the girl. And he's like, I'm stopping fighting this guy. I need to protect the girl. He literally, he's bleeding from everything. He like turns around and just stays in the door there. Gijun does end up running because the police gets there. He runs and escapes, and Jundo just stays there protecting the little girl that is scared to death where she is now. You know, when Jundo wakes up in the hospital, they tell him about Sumin, then tell him about Minjo and what happened to him and all of that. And they do tell him that the little girl is safe. Of course, she has some trauma after everything, but she is safe with her parents and all of that. So they do have the funeral for Minju, and there Minju mom gets there to give him I think it was a card that Minju wrote for him. She's still scared of going outside, but she wanted to give something to Jundo, which is why the mom went there instead, thanking him for saving her and all of that, which discusses Jundo to do something about it and capture Gijun. So many names. I'm having trouble with so many names. So at the end, I said this was going to be very short. At the end, what ends up happening is Junto and his friends, together with Sumin, even they kind of help. He kind of helps. They're able to find Gijun. He's hiding in a place, hiding in a very back alley. There we go. That, and there is this big fight, kind of longish, happening between Gijun and Jundo. It is very long, I'll say that. This fight is long. I will say the only reason why I didn't get bored of this fight is because it is very intense. And some parts are kind of hilarious the way that Jundo was fighting. But it is a pretty long fight that they have. But Jundo, of course, when Gijun goes back to prison again because he violated the parole thingies. And at the end, they are again doing the commemoration thing to Jundo and his friends for what they did and their actions to capture Gijun. And we see the little girl, Minju, finally able to get out of the house and give him flowers and thanking Jundo personally for, you know, what he did for her, and telling him that, you know, she's still scared but she's able to get out of the house now and all of that. And at the end, we see Jundo and Sumin out again, going to do their job as the officers. Again, the whole movie, okay? I told you this was going to be very short. Again, things happen. I'm not saying things aren't happening, because things happen, but a lot of things are like montages, especially when Jundo starts doing the job. It's a lot of montages of them capturing the guys that are not following the parole and all of that. But this movie is really good, honestly, okay? It is very funny, but at the same time it has the serious moments where it's necessary. I do really like how they use those funny and serious parts to develop the characters. The main example will be Jundo. He at some point has blonde hair and then he goes into black hair. When he had blonde hair was where most of the funny parts were happening, because he just wanted to have fun. He just wanted to do something fun in life and nothing else. He wasn't taking everything seriously, honestly. And then when he changed to black hair was that there was a change in personality. He was still funny. I'm not saying that his whole personality changed and now he's a serious change man. No, he's still funny, but he was taking that childlike personality away out, and being a little bit more serious about the job and protecting everybody and all of that. In a way, like, he found that thing that was fun for him in life, and he was actually taking it seriously. Even though there's still funny parts after he goes black hair. I don't know, the tone of the movie kind of changed a bit into him taking more the job seriously, and I love that, you know. So that kind of a thing that they use. The friends are still the same, by the way. The friends don't change as much in the movie. They say something at the end, they do end up helping him, so in a way they were sort of also not fully changing, but being like, oh, we are actually needed now, let's go, we're actually gonna be helpful for him, you know, so we should do something, that kind of a thing. Because throughout the whole movie they are like, he should do something and all of that, so by them seeing that he actually found something to do, it made them help him, but at the same way working for their own things. Because again, I think they explain why their names are like that, and had to do something with what they wanted to do in the future. I think, I'm not sure, at least one of them, I don't remember. But this movie is nice, honestly. I would definitely suggest you go watch it. It is fun. I cried a bit, especially with, you know, Minju and stuff. It was good. I recommend watching it. Lots of things are happening. You don't feel like it is a long movie because you're just there with everything that is happening. I will say you might find it very fast paced. They don't stay too much when it comes to explaining the job and all of that. Like, you understand the job, but it would have been better if they kind of explain it a little bit more. They do have the whole montage of, you know, Yoon and Sumin doing the job, but I don't know, maybe while doing that they would have had Sumin explaining more the job. I don't know. But you will probably say that it's very fast paced, so you probably, if you go and look something else and then go back to the movie, you might be lost because you have lost like half of the story because it is very fast paced. But I do really like that because then the movie doesn't feel that long. When you realize it's done, it's like, oh, 2 hours have passed. I stay here 2 hours watching this. But it is a very good movie. Okay, I would definitely recommend it. It is very nice. If anybody has watched this movie, let me know what you thought of it. Did you like it? Is there any part that is your favorite? What do you thought of it? Let me know in the comments below. That's another airplane. I have lost count already. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing great, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.